Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Well, welcome back to the back of my car, but we are in the landscape. So, I'm in some woodland. I've been mooching around in some woodland anyway. And I found some bluebells. I mean, they're not spectacular bluebells, but they're bluebells. And it suddenly occurred to me, as I was trying to capture them, that I've never photographed bluebells on film. Even back in my Olympus 35mm film days. It's just, don't know. It's a subject that's never really appealed to me. Captured them plenty of times on digital, but never on film. So, I'm trying to get a roll of film loaded into my film holder, and I'm not the best at it, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. So, come on. Is it that way? Yes. Aha. We might have a winner. Last time I did this, I did it the wrong way around, which is why I'm taking my time and making sure that I load it the right way around. So, I have with me today my Mamiya 645 medium format film camera. I have just loaded in it a roll of Kodak Gold 200. There it is. So, I think let's go and have a play. There we go. Frame number one, ready to rock and roll. Let's go and have a play with some bluebells on film with a medium format Mamiya 645. What could possibly go wrong? So I've had a mooch around and I've come across a patch of bluebells. This isn't the first patch of bluebells that I've looked at. I've actually looked at several, but I've got two Achilles heels that are kind of working against me. The first one is that the minimum focusing distance for the two lenses that I've got is around about, I think that's 1.5 meters, this is 1.8. And I've got two zoom lenses. So this one's a 210, 105 to 210, and then the other one in the bag is slightly wider. So there's a minimum focusing distance challenge, let's just call it that. The second challenge that I've got is f-stops. So the minimum f-stop for both of these two lenses is f4.5, which if you're pointing the camera at a clump of flowers, it's very, very difficult to separate that clump of flowers from everything else. You know, kind of crying out for a 70 to 200 2.8 or something like that. And maybe what I actually need to do is add a fast lens for this setup to my collection. But what I've done is I've kept looking and I've found this mound, and hopefully you can see that in front of me. The advantage of that is that I can get lower. The second advantage is that I've got bluebells actually on the crest of this mound, and the objects that are in the distance, I mean, they're way in the distance. It could be, I don't know, 25, 30 meters away. So at f4.5, they are indistinct enough in order to be able to get away with it. So, I mean, you could say I got lucky, but I think you make your own luck. And yeah, okay, I got lucky. And kind of like the more I've looked, the more I've been able to see clumps of bluebells where I thought, yeah, do you know what? I should be able to separate them from the background. Now I've got two viewfinders for this camera. So this is a Mamiya 645 Pro, relatively new addition to my kit. I've got the waist level viewfinder that you can see here, and I will show you the view in a second. I've also got an eyepiece. I don't know what you call it. Let me just fetch it out. It looks like that, and it's got a prism and an eyepiece. The advantage of this is that I can focus this to my eye, so I don't have to use my reading glasses. So those occasions where, for whatever reason, the waist level viewfinder isn't practical, then I've got this as an alternative. The waist level viewfinder here is working perfectly because the camera's low, so that I can pick out the bluebells on the brow of that rise, and that just enables me to look down. I don't have to kneel down or grovel on the ground or whatever. Now, interestingly, although I was quite excited to do this, I'm not sure that the 645 format necessarily works for bluebells. I don't know, it's slightly too wide. A lot of the time when I photograph bluebells, I do it in a square, because a square is good to represent just a subject, and very often with bluebells, that's what you're presenting, just a subject. But let me move you and show you the composition and just talk you through it very quickly. And I've got one more challenge. So challenge number 2 is metering. And I've covered metering on this channel before. So I have got my reflected light meter, my Buoy boy, which I used quite a lot initially when I was testing these cameras to make sure that they were light tight and so on and so forth. So it's actually proven to be quite a reliable way, and I've actually, of measuring exposure, and also because I've actually got decent results off it, I'm also quite confident with it. So just pointing that generally at the scene, the film is ISO 200, the needle is on number 3, so if I move the dial to number 3, I'm at f4.5. I mean, somewhere between 1/25th and a 60th ish. Let's see, are we 3 or are we 3 and a bit? Yeah, we're probably 3 and a bit actually. So if I put it 3 and a bit, yeah, it's more like 1/25th of a second, which is fine. But the other thing I've got is I've got a mobile phone app, and I can't remember who recommended this to me. It's called Pocket Light Meter. I'm just going to show it to you there. Let's make sure you can see that on the back of the camera. You dial in your aperture, which for me is going to be f4.5, dial in the ISO, and then hopefully you can see this little red square. You can move the square around and it resamples based on where the square is. And hopefully you can see that time is moving dependent on where I put the square. So what I've done is I've done the same exercise with this. So I've pointed this at my scene. I'm going to point it at the grass. Now, interestingly, that's given me 1/50th. So more like a 60th of a second. Now, bearing in mind light might have changed. Let's just do it again. Yeah, it has. It's dropped back to 3. Yeah, which is more like a 60th of a second. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to bracket in order to maximize my chances. I did this before when I was playing with film pinhole cameras. For that, you've got a cardboard dial that you dial in the weather conditions, the f-stop, which is ridiculous. It was something like 168 or something. And then the film speed, and that gave you an approximate time to have the pinhole open. And I used to bracket on either side. So let's say it was, I'm making this up, 30 seconds, I would do one at 15 and at one at 60 and one at 30, and I'd write it all down, and then when I looked at the film when I got home, I could do a comparison as to whether I was close, whether I was off, whether the film itself actually coped better with being slightly overexposed, depending on what the meter said. So I think I'm going to do the same here, using a starting point of a 60th of a second. I'm using the split level glass, and what I've done is I've put the split over a stem, a bluebell stem, and then focused using that, and then recomposed. But hopefully you can see there the impact of using a using a bank in order to separate the bluebells from the background. Just suddenly thought, actually, the one thing I didn't do was check that the camera was level. So I'm just going to put a spirit level on the back. Oh yes, that was quite a lot out. So I'm just going to check my composition. It's looking okay. Might just bring it up a tad. Focus is looking fine. Right, let's learn the lessons from previous outings. What did we say? 60th of a second. So pointed at the subject. Yeah, 60th. Right, so let's do one stop under, one stop at the frame, and one stop over. So half of 60 is 30. So we're all wound on. I haven't got a cable release for this, so where's mirror lockup? Mirror lockup. Oh, it's right in between that. Oh, dark slide. I always forget about the dark slide. Fortunately, the mechanism inside the camera won't work unless the dark slide is out. Right, mirror lockup. 30th of a second. Self timer is on. I don't know how long it runs for, actually. Okay, so frame number 1 is a 30th of a second, f4.5, 210mm. Right, wind it on. Do another one. This is at a 60th of a second. And then I'm going to do the next frame at 1/25th, leaving everything alone. Boom. My first ever bluebell picture captured using film. Why did I not do it before? Right, so rather than bore you to tears with watching me trying to set up the camera to capture these, I'm just going to bring you, these are the bluebells I'm going to capture next. They've got that lovely classic curve with the bluebells hanging down. I mean, this one here is not, oh, in fact, I was going to say looking manky, it's not actually out yet, but hopefully from here you actually get the idea again about the separation. Obviously the Osmo depth of field is significantly larger, but from here I can capture these flowers, and I'll probably do it in portrait, but the background is far enough away to be as non-distracting as possible. So I'm now going to waste another 10 minutes of my life trying to frame up these bluebells in a portrait frame and go through exactly the same process. And if the image came out, then I shall show it to you round about now. So despite saying to you that I wasn't going to show you the setup and all the rest of it, here it is. But I'm actually doing it for a couple of reasons. One, I did actually have to swap from the waist level viewfinder, what I was using previously, to the eyepiece one, because now that I've tilted the camera over into portrait mode, I can't actually see the waist level finder. And then second, you can probably see the camera is at a peculiar angle. Even though the bolt on the Elk bracket is done up as tight as it will go, it's not tight enough. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I might have to put a sticky rubber pad or something on the back of this L bracket just to make up a little bit more distance and squish it in a little bit more. But I've just leveled up and checked the composition. I will check focus, and then we'll take the image. Right, so rather than walk you through every single composition, I'm going to finish the film, and I'm actually going to end the video right here. The final images that I take, I'll stick them on the end so that you can see them. I've had all fun and games here trying to set up this particular one. You might just be able to see it, bluebell, and then there's some ferns in the foreground. I've had to swap to the other lens in order to be able to do it. And yeah, lots of faffing, but great fun. And lots of thinking and lots of thought. I mean, I probably spent, I don't know, 20 minutes playing with this. It's one of the reasons why I love film. It really, really forces you to slow down and think about what you're doing and make it worthwhile. And that for me is just fantastic. So everybody, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you like landscape photography, consider becoming a subscriber if you're not already. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. I'm being attacked by the vegetation. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up. That would be gratefully appreciated. So until we're back out in the landscape again, everybody take care, stay well and stay safe, and I shall see you all soon.